This week we're headed to New Bordeaux to find out the latest about Mafia III. We venture even further afield for a chat with the Coalition about Gears of War 4, and Mike takes Forza Horizon 3 for a spin in our latest review. This is Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this week we'll kick things off with a big Aussie announcement. Australia's most inclusive convention is returning to Sydney in April 2017, and it needs your help to make things happen. Head to the GX Australia Kickstarter and snap up your early bird ticket, or pledge a bit more and get a bonus game or three, maybe a t-shirt or an invitation to some VIP action in Sydney. Building on a great first event, 2017 is shaping up to be even better for GX Australia. You can expect incredible guests, amazing panels, stacks of games and experiences, and a killer show floor. And it's all held in the more accessible, more affordable Sydney Showgrounds from April 29 to 30, 2017. Meanwhile, Pokemon Go is still making headlines with the launch of the new wrist-based Plus peripheral that finally allows you to earn candy and bonuses even when the app is not open on your smartphone. A new update for the game also records where you've caught each of your pocket monsters, so if you want to keep track of the best place to snag a Dratini, that should now be a little bit easier. But it's not all about Pokemon Go. The development team behind fan-created game Pokemon Uranium has officially called it a day, saying that while they are immensely flattered and overwhelmed by the response to the game, now is the time to move on to other projects. Uranium's hyperactive fanbase has promised to pick up the pieces and continue the project as a community build, but there will be no more official downloads, updates, online services, or support for the game. As one door closes, a window opens. Nintendo and the Pokemon Company have stepped up to announce that, of course, the Pokemon franchise will indeed be appearing on the upcoming Nintendo NX console, due out in March 2017. Pokemon Company boss Tsunekatsu Ishihara spoke to the Wall Street Journal, saying that the NX will change the concept of what it means to be a home console device or a handheld device, and that his studio will be creating games for the new platform, even though we don't really know when we'll be able to play them. Another thing that we don't really know when we'll be able to play with is Project Scorpio. Microsoft has described their new hardware as the end of console generations, and we're not entirely sure what that means. We do, however, know that the development team is exploring virtual reality for the hardware, and that each of Microsoft's first-party games that will launch during the Scorpio timeframe will be able to natively render at 4K. You do still have some time to save up for that new TV, however. Project Scorpio, which is still just a code name, is set to launch in a bit over a year from now, in time for Christmas 2017. And speaking of virtual reality, we've finally found out how much it'll cost to get a pair of those Oculus Touch controllers, and it is way more than we expected. We're still waiting on details for local pricing, but in the UK at least, they'll set you back £190. That is around $245 US and $320 Australian, if we ignore the notorious Australia tax that will undoubtedly hike the price even higher. Hopefully, as we get a bit closer to release, the controllers will get a little bit more affordable. Moving on to quick news now, and Wargaming has announced its first esports tournament for World of Tanks Blitz. The World of Tanks Blitz Twister Cup will kick off a little later this year, with clans butting heads across the globe. If you want to join in, act fast, sign-ups are still open, so join a clan and put your name down right now. Blizzard has announced that it will soon be rebranding its decades-old online network, transitioning away from the Battle.net name and instead bringing everything under the single Blizzard umbrella. A few things have already changed, with Blizzard streaming and Blizzard Voice popping up in the wild, but more changes are on the way. This is a purely aesthetic change. The system will still work exactly like it always has, but it will help make things more streamlined and uniform, which is always nice. And speaking of streamlined, how do you get more efficient than simply recycling things? That seems to be the theory behind the team working on Metal Gear Survive, who are not only reusing the engine from Metal Gear Solid 5, but they've also lifted the entire Afghanistan map and inserted it straight into the new game with just a few details rearranged. Now, Metal Gear Survive is not going to be a full-priced game, but still more than a few Kojima fans are feeling a little cheated. Keeping them happy though is news from the man himself, who, remember, is not actually involved in Metal Gear Survive. Hideo Kojima has now stepped out on his own and is working on his own project, Death Stranding. We don't know much about this one other than the fact Norman Reedus is involved, but we do now have an idea that it will be in our hands in about 2 years. Kojima-san has confirmed that Death Stranding will be out before the Tokyo Olympic Games in 2020, or, more specifically, out before the year that Akira is set. With the Japanese animated classic taking place in 2019, simple maths suggests that Kojima's new one will hit sometime in 2018. Not long now. And speaking of 2018, that might be how long you'll have to wait for a new Assassin's Creed game, with Ubisoft announcing that the franchise may not be seeing a new game next year. However, what we will be seeing much earlier than that is the Assassin's Creed movie, which is due out at the end of this year. Director Justin Kurzel has revealed another tasty tidbit about the film. All of the historical scenes have been filmed in Spanish. Only fitting, as that's what they would have been speaking in the 15th century, but it's nice to see Hollywood agreeing to the use of subtitles in an otherwise English-speaking production. And as if the jump to the silver screen wasn't enough, Ubisoft is also moving onto the printed page. The first novel from Ubisoft Publishing will be Assassin's Creed Heresy, interweaving the story of a modern-day Templar with a 14th century narrative involving Joan of Arc. It's by Christie Golden, who you may recognise as having written a number of other games-related books, including several for World of Warcraft. For more information on any of these stories, or to keep up to date with the latest gaming news, head to playerattack.com. But for now, stick around, we've got plenty more still to come.